This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this morning, PDP BOT meet on ways to resolve internal crisis. Court in Port Harcourt stops further legal processes in fresh case over APC congresses. Federal government tells striking resident doctors to resume work. Lagos State House of Assembly slashes pensions of former governors by 50%. On the foreign scene, U.S. urges Iran's new president, Ibrahim Raisi, to resume nuclear talks. In sports, Lionel Messi leaves Barcelona. I am Ifiemi Andrew. The PDP Board of Trustees BOT and National Working Committee meeting at its National Secretariat Abuja on Thursday ended with the setting up of a special committee to resolve all areas of disputes. The move comes ahead of its national convention in December. The meeting focused on the resignation of 7 elected National Executive Committee members who are not pleased with Prince Uche Seconda's-led National Working Committee. As you may know, the PDP national leader Ude Okoye and a member of House of Representatives Remande Shawulu Kwenwom had called for the resignation of Prince Uche Secondus after the resignation of the national executive members.
If Secondus does not resign, I am going to leave the party.
Why does Secondus not want to sacrifice for the party like all the previous chairmen that have done the same?
But the PDP National Chairman Prince Uche Secondus in his address called for a peaceful resolution of the issue rocking the party to avoid plunging the party into a bigger crisis ahead of its national convention.
Issues of this nature must be handled quickly and swiftly because any dislocation will cause an infraction and will result to several unknown issues that we may come out, we may not be able, but God forbid.
Meanwhile, PDP Board of Trustees Chairman Senator Walid Jubril warned members against going to court.
If anyone that takes the party to court should be seriously disciplined.
Our correspondent reports that Governor Nyesom Wike, immediate Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki, former Foreign Affairs Minister Tom Nkimi, former Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations Tanimu Turaki, ex-Osun State Governor Prince Olagunshoye Oyinlola were among those at the meeting. A high court in Port Harcourt has stopped further legal processes in a fresh case over the APC national congresses. Recall that Steve Warner and 6 others went to court on Monday challenging the conduct of the APC congresses, saying they were denied APC forms despite payments. Justice O. Ben White, who was expected to hear the notice on the motion of interlocutory injunction on Thursday, was informed that an appeal has been filed by APC lawyers. The judge, after carefully listening to the arguments of lawyers in the case, stopped hearing on the matter since there was proof that an appeal has been entered on the subject matter. The judge, however, said his earlier directive that the existing states should remain still stands. In the meantime, Henry Bello, lawyer to Stephen Warner and 6 others, spoke on the ruling of the court.
I'm counsel to Stephen Warner and 6 others in the matter regarding the conduct of World Congress in Rivers State, where the claimants were excluded. The court made an order for maintenance of status quo, and an appeal has been lodged against that order. And in deference to the Court of Appeal, as a matter of respect to the Court of Appeal, which is senior court to the High Court, the court has stayed proceedings in that matter to await the decision of the Court of Appeal. That is what transpired today.
Correspondent Soebiru Wari reports that Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Tunduru Ede, who is the lawyer to APC National, explained why they approached the Court of Appeal.
Those who claim to be APC members took the matter. APC, upon becoming aware of same, appealed against the assumption of jurisdiction and the orders made ex parte. We followed that up by entering the appeal, filed a motion to stay proceedings. So this morning, when we appeared and the court said it had fixed motion for interlocutory injunction, we drew the attention of the Honorable Court to it, that we were already at the Court of Appeal and it is proper to stay proceedings. The court has accordingly granted that application. Nigeria has received 26 ventilators and other equipment from the World Health Organization.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ifiemi, received the donated items on behalf of the federal government on Thursday in Abuja. Dr. Ifiemi told the WHO's country representative, Dr. Walter Kazadi, who presented the items to him, that he expects the ventilators to come in handy in the race to halt the spread of the pandemic.
We thank you and appreciate these additional assets that we have to deal with our fear of the third wave of COVID-19. We know that ventilators have always become very useful, and not only useful for the response to any threat of COVID-19, but even after COVID-19, extremely useful assets.
The items were delivered on the same day Nigeria recorded its highest daily infections in 6 months, as there are growing concerns about widespread protocol violations by citizens. In the meantime, the federal government has asked striking resident doctors to resume work, as most of the issues they've raised are state affairs. Minister of Health Dr. Osagi Ifiemi told journalists in Abuja that 7 of 12 matters that were raised by the National Association of Resident Doctors were the responsibility of state governments.
Striking is not a tool to be used at this time of need. I want to advise that you go back to work by tomorrow.
Then we're still appealing to the doctors to go back to the negotiating table.
We are already receiving reports that persons who are appearing with symptoms that look like COVID-19 and going to hospital are being rejected because they are told that the resident doctors are on strike. This is dangerous.
He said he expects the resident doctors to resume work today and take up these issues with the state governments rather than embark on the nationwide strike. Cholera outbreak and other waterborne diseases are said to be threatening Bile Kingdom in Degama Council, Rivers State. A statement from the local government council said the council chairman has led a team of medical personnel to the area to assess the situation. He said Governor Nyesom Wike has directed the Ministry of Health and other relevant agencies to respond to the health crisis and bring it under control. Away from that, Amnesty International says Nigerian security forces have killed dozens of people during operations against separatists in the southeast of the country. This comes after the government accused the banned indigenous people of Biafra IPOB movement of attacking police stations, killing dozens of officers. Amnesty is calling for an impartial and open inquiry as well as fair trials for anyone accused of violence. It says the evidence it has gathered in Imo, Anambra and Abia states paints a damning picture of ruthless excessive force by the Nigerian police and army. As well as killing 115 suspected militants, the rights group says people were randomly picked up from their homes who had nothing to do with the attacks on police stations and some tortured. IPOB has denied any involvement in the violence. Amnesty International believes there is a danger that the action of the government could fuel resentment and anger and lead to yet more violence in southeast Nigeria. Still ahead, some first-class graduates of the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education write tests to defend their first-class results. Stay tuned. Some students of the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education who were recently awarded first-class honors were made to write a test to prove they merit their first-class status. Some of the students spoke to correspondent Martha Okere just before the exam started on Thursday.
If you say you don't trust us, we did not give ourselves the score.
My department brought our names 2 days ago. If I was to be in another state or maybe even out of the country, how would I have come back?
How are we going to defend a result in 30 minutes for a result that was accumulated over the years?
Why don't they verify those that are in second class that are supposed to come down to third class?
How about those persons that won't be able to meet up the score they want for today? What would they do about them?
We don't know the index for measuring.
For the RMS to be so porous to allow students to get access to it, that makes the results management system totally unuseful.
I think they are having a lot of students coming at the same grade level.
If we are to read everything we do, we're going to read like 80 courses. So the problem is that they didn't narrow it down for us. But then I feel like it's actually a pathway to progress.
Some of the students had this to say after writing the 45-minute test, which they said was on quantitative reasoning.
We saw a lot of questions that we really reasoned a lot to answer them. I must say this, it's not really worth it. I don't see a position where this particular exam we wrote to be used to determine a 4-year struggle of an individual.
Do you know that I went and read on year 1 of my profession? Do you know that what I saw there was something else? As I'm talking, I'm bleeding inside my heart. For my 5 years, 4 years was COVID-19. Some person did not even write. Computer science department, they uploaded their this on Saturday, and the ones that came after class did not write. One woman just came with her baby. 2 minutes to the exam, they just gave her paper and she did not even write anything.
As you may know, the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education decided that all 2021 graduating students with a cumulative grade point average of 4.5 and above take what they called a qualifying test due to concerns that certain factors may have influenced the first-class degrees obtained by these students. The Lagos State House of Assembly has slashed pensions of former governors by 50%. The slash, which was announced in a statement on Thursday, follows a report and consequently a recommendation by the Assembly's Committee on Establishment. The committee also removed the provision of houses in Abuja and Lagos for former governors as stipulated in an earlier law operated by the state. The report further showed a reduction in the number of vehicles to be made available to former governors and their deputies. Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Abasa, suggested that former governors should get 2 vehicles, a car and a van, instead of 3 recommended by the committee, adding that the amended bill provides that the cars be changed every 4 years instead of the 3 years recommended by the report. While some of the lawmakers at plenary had suggested an upward review of the pension for the affected public office holders by 75%, others urged that the pension remain as stipulated in the old law. Obasa, however, argued that it should be left at 50%, especially as the report had recommended the removal of houses and reduced other benefits. Earlier, some lawmakers said the downward adjustment would have a positive impact on the internally generated revenue of the state. Now in business, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, has said that there is currently no set date for petrol subsidy removal. Mr. Silva said this on Channels Television on Thursday. He said the government is trying to ensure a soft landing for Nigerians when subsidy is eventually removed.
We must be considerate of our people as well. You cannot, because you have the muscle, box everybody down in the room. So what we are saying is, look, before we do this, we need to put some structures in place so that the impact on the people will be minimized. So what we are trying to do is to try to create an alternative which is cheaper, which is more affordable. So that structure is being put in place. We also think that maybe there will be need for some kind of palliatives. So we are looking at all that very soon, especially with the PIB passed. We will come out and we'll tell Nigerians what date the removal of subsidy will kick in.
The minister said that the Muhammad Buhari administration cannot be blamed for the present state of the facilities as it inherited damaged refineries. In entertainment, Mo Abudu's Ebony Live Studios is co-producing a movie based on Hush Puppy. Ebony Live Studios and Will Parker have secured the rights of Bloomberg's article, The Fall of the Billionaire Gucci Master, based on incarcerated fraudster Raymond Abbas, also known as Hush Puppy. Ebony Live boss Mo Abudu confirmed the new partnership in an Instagram post. In sports, Barcelona have announced that Lionel Messi is now free to leave the club after negotiations over a new deal fell apart on Thursday. The club confirmed in a statement that the Argentine is now set to leave the Catalan side after 21 years. The Argentine star's latest deal expired this summer, but he was expected to commit to a new contract ahead of the new season.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
The U.S. has called on Iran's new president to resume talks on reviving a historic nuclear deal. A spokesman for the U.S. State Department warned that the window for diplomacy would not remain open forever. Ibrahim Raisi, who was sworn in on Thursday, says all illegal U.S. sanctions against the Iranian nation must be lifted. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran have soared since 2018, when then-President Donald Trump pulled out of a nuclear deal and restored sanctions. Western countries accuse Iran of trying to build a nuclear weapon, a charge Tehran denies. On the news this morning, you heard that the PDP Board of Trustees has set up a special committee to resolve its internal crisis. A court in Port Harcourt has stopped further legal processes in a fresh case over APC's congresses. The federal government is telling striking resident doctors to resume work. Lagos State House of Assembly has slashed pensions of former governors by 50%. On the foreign scene, you heard that the U.S. is urging Iran's new president, Ibrahim Raisi, to resume nuclear talks. In sports, Lionel Messi is set to leave Barcelona. The news was edited by Enoho Ogbeviri. Contact our newsroom at 0818-900-0017. Cloudy weather is expected in Port Harcourt this morning. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Thank you for listening and have a great day ahead. Good morning.